Hey, good evening, everyone. Give me just a minute or two. I'm sorry we're running a little bit behind, and I will get this shared on all of our social media, and then we can go ahead and get started with our weekly live stream update Q&A. All right, but I hope you all had a nice week. We don't have a whole lot of updates, but I do have some exciting news I want to share with you all. We've made progress with our campaign. Let me see if I can find this on here, but we'll get into that in just 1 minute. Let's let some people hop on before we get this started. So while I go through this process and do my Q&A, feel free to ask any questions y'all have. I'll answer questions on Facebook and Twitter. I'm live streaming on both right now. And thank y'all so much for helping us reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'm actually going to start doing my live streams on YouTube and multi-streaming out to the different platforms. Unfortunately, since we just hit 1,000 subscribers today, I do have to wait 24 hours before I can live stream from YouTube. So, all right. Let's go into this. Got questions pulled up for Twitter. I have questions pulled up for Facebook. Awesome. So go ahead and share this real quick with your friends, and then we'll go ahead and get started in about 1 more minute. All right. Okay, so again, make sure any questions y'all have, I'm here to answer your questions. I'll stay as long as it takes. We'll go through an update first, kind of what has happened throughout the last week, what we're expecting in the upcoming week, and then we can go through and answer all the questions y'all have in comments. So let's go ahead and get started. My name is Dan Whitfield. I'm the independent candidate running for United States Senate here in Arkansas, and I am running as an independent because I believe that our representatives should answer to their constituents and not a political party. And that is very important to me. And that's why I have chosen to remain unaffiliated with a political party. Updates. All right. So I know it's been just a little while since we had our last live stream Q&A. There hasn't been a whole lot, unfortunately, with our case. If you go to the 8th Court Circuit website here and then you search our case number, it'll show that we actually haven't had any change in our case since we filed our expedite on July 8th. So it has been 11 days since we have had any progress on our case, but we are still waiting. We're moving forward. I'm very confident we are going to get ballot access. A quick recap kind of on what happened is we had not gotten enough signatures to get ballot access due to COVID-19. So we asked the governor for help to reduce the amount of signatures required for ballot access, and he ignored us. So we asked the Secretary of State for help, and he told us he didn't have the authority. So we decided we were running out of time. We had to take legal action. So we sued the Secretary of State for signature reduction or some kind of relief for ballot access due to COVID-19, and he decided that he would choose the Attorney General as his defense counsel. And the first thing that's very interesting is the governor, the Secretary of State, and the Attorney General have all taken money from Tom Cotton. So they all have, a financial incentive to help him run unopposed. I don't know why she's allowed to represent him. It's kind of a conflict of interest, but she is. So moving on, we had our hearing on, was it May 27th, I believe? And our hearing went really great. We had a 9-hour-long day in court, and I had a cross-examination by the Attorney General's office for 2 hours. I answered all their questions. I think we made a really, really good case. And Judge Baker put out her ruling, I believe it was on June 24th, stating that we failed to show standing for preliminary injunctive relief, but we do have standing for declaratory relief. And she ruled in favor of John Thurston and against us. Now, it sounds like that's a bad thing, but it was actually a really, really good thing, because what it did was she gave us standing for the declaratory relief. So it's already in her ruling that we have declaratory standing. And now we can appeal her ruling and take it into the Eighth Circuit and expedite our appeal, which means it'll get done sooner rather than later. Whereas if she would have ruled in our favor right away for declaratory relief, then the Attorney General would have appealed. And if the Attorney General would have appealed, it would have locked our case up in court until after ballots were printed and possibly until after the election. So really, she did us a favor. She knows that there have been many other cases that John Thurston has been the defending party of where he has lost the case and then it gets locked up in court and candidates don't make the ballot. So we are moving in the right direction. We just have to be patient at this point. We were hoping for a July 20th hearing. That was what we put in our expedited appeal, and we haven't heard back on it yet, so it's probably not going to be July 20th, but it will be at the latest the middle of August. So we just have to be patient, but I'm very confident we'll win because the judge did state that we do have standing for declaratory relief. All right, legal stuff's out of the way. I just wanted to let you all kind of know what's going on because I get that question all the time, are you on the ballot yet? Do you have ballot access? That's where we're at right now. So we're moving forward, moving in the right direction. It's just a very stressful and drawn out process, but we are still in it. We're good to go. I'm very confident we will have ballot access. All right, so over the last week, some interesting things have happened politically. Unfortunately, we lost a great congressman, a hero of civil rights, John Lewis. It's very unfortunate for us as a people that he was representing and fighting for. And the best thing we can do to promote his memory is to keep the fight going and keep pursuing civil justice and equality throughout the American people. And we just have to keep the fight going. We can't give up. Moving on past that, the reason I didn't do my live stream yesterday is I have my yard signs coming in and I've been super excited. I know y'all have been excited. I get every single day. People are messaging me on like Twitter or Facebook or on my messenger. When are you going to have yard signs? Do you have your yard signs yet? They're coming. I was actually waiting to do my live stream until today because my yard signs were supposed to be in yesterday, shipped to my house, 15 boxes. And unfortunately, FedEx didn't make it here. So then I was hoping, well, hopefully they'll be here today and then I can have them before my live stream and show y'all. But unfortunately, FedEx didn't make it again today. But they did say they will be here tomorrow. So we will have our yard signs tomorrow. I have not put them up on our store yet because I'm not sure about the shipping costs. Once I get them in, I'll run down to USPS and see how much it's going to cost to ship these things out. That way, I can figure that into the price to make sure that y'all aren't getting ripped off for shipping. We may also be looking for volunteers around the state where maybe, if you can hold 20 yard signs in your garage where other supporters can come and meet you and pick them up, or you can drop them off or something like that. If that's something you're interested in, please send me a message and let me know. I'll get you an invite into our Slack group and we'll get our yard sign distribution chat created here tonight. So that's kind of where we're at with yard signs. I'm super excited for them. They look really cool. I got the good ones. They're corrugated plastic. They're thick. I spent a little bit of extra money on the heavy-duty H-frames, so they shouldn't be blowing over in the wind, and you shouldn't be bending them when you're hammering them down into the ground. So yard signs, awesome. They should be here tomorrow. Let's see, what else did I get? I did finally get some shirts. They're really good shirts. They're high quality. Vistaprint was having a 50% off sale, so I just said, let's just do it. I got a bunch of shirts in different sizes for men and women. I got some baseball caps. They are the Flex Fit hats. They have they go all the way around. They don't have a little clippy band. They're not cheap hats. They're good quality hats. They're comfortable. They'll keep your head cool. So if you're interested in a hat, I got white and navy blue. And then we also got some stickers. So, if you're a student, you're in school, or if you have a work laptop or something like that, you want to throw a sticker on there, awesome. I'm going to try to give out some free stickers for the back orders, people who've been pre-ordering for some of this stuff. But yeah, so I'm excited. My store should be getting, filled up here soon. I think Vistaprint said I should have all of that stuff here by July 27th. So we're looking at, another 8 days or so. So if we're lucky, maybe the end of this week or next week. So my store, there we go. A bunch of cool stuff in there. And if you haven't been to my store, go to replacetomcotton.com, click on the shop tab, and there's some cool stuff in there. Get some bumper stickers. The top selling one is Tom Cotton is bad for America. We all know he's bad for America, so make sure you show everyone around you when you're driving down the road that you know he's bad for America too. Some other interesting things on my website while I'm talking about it, I'll go through just really quick. Replacetomcotton.com. If you want to see where we've spent every single penny of our campaign that has been donated to us to make sure that we're spending your money in the most efficient way possible, go to replacetomcotton.com and click the expenses tab. And I have a spreadsheet there. Every single time I get a charge on my card, I just throw it into the spreadsheet now. I'm not waiting until the end of the month to keep it updated. So check that out and you can kind of see how we're spending our money to make sure that we're spending it in the best possible way. Tom Cotton has already spent over $3.5 million. How has he spent $3.5 million? Well, I'll tell you how. He's spending millions and millions of dollars on out-of-state advertising, states like Michigan and Iowa, and he's not even advertising for himself. He's advertising for President Trump's re-election and just putting his picture in his Army uniform at the end of it. So that's how he's using his money. If you donate to Tom Cotton and you're working class, I apologize to let you know he's spending your money on out-of-state presidential ads. Moving on, in that same general area, we did our FEC filings. I'm super proud to say we are grassroots 100%. We don't take money from political parties. We don't take money from political action committees, giant corporations. I actually did have 3 LLCs donate like $100. But they're just small businesses, so I can't say no corporations anymore, but no giant corporations. And we don't take, any donations from billionaires or any special interests. 100% grassroots. We have roughly 80% of our donations are in increments smaller than $200, which means 80% of our donations are from small donors. 20% are from donations that are more than $200 and less than $2,800. I think, our 20% though, our highest donation is like $1,000 at this point. We have a few thousands. So 20% over 200 and 80% under. So thank you all so much for helping keep our grassroots campaign so strong. Without y'all, we wouldn't be able to defeat and unseat and replace Tom Cotton, but we're going to, and we're not going to need millions of dollars to do it because of things like this. We have social media. We're getting our name out there. We're getting known, and that's what's important. Of course, the more funds we have, the better. I would love to be able to start putting different advertisements in newspapers in all of the different counties, and maybe even get some short commercial time. So if you can afford to donate a couple dollars, I know y'all, we got our email list going. I hired my first paid position on our campaign. We have been 100% volunteer up until now. But we have to make sure that we are running this campaign in the most efficient way possible. So I have hired a fundraiser. We didn't have to pay them anything up front. They're just working for a percentage like every other fundraising company. And it's a very, very reasonable percent too. So we do have a professional fundraiser helping us now. They're working on getting our email lists out and things like that. So if you see those emails, if you notice anything, just let me know and we can get it fixed and get all the kinks worked out real quickly. But we're moving in the right direction. So in our last FEC filing, our first quarter, we only got 13,000 in donations. It wasn't a lot, but thank you. Oh, thanks so much. Thank you guys so much. Everyone who has been donating since the start, who was able to notice us right away and been helping keep us going. And now for all of you newcomers who are coming in and being like, I thought he was running unopposed. Who's this guy? Wow, I agree with this guy more than most politicians. It's because I'm not a politician. I'm a working class guy who wants change for our children to grow up in a better society. Well, we went from 13,000 last quarter to, I think we got like $25,000 in donations this quarter. So we almost doubled our donations, which is really amazing. So thank you guys so much for that. We're up to like 38,000 total or something around there. So we are making progress. We're moving forward. We do have our first paid position, which is our fundraising director, and he's going to make sure that we can, raise that by 2,000% next quarter. So we're going to keep moving forward. And if you can, thank you so much for donating. If you can't, I totally get it. It's just such tough times right now with COVID. We're in these crazy spikes where we're having like an average of 700 cases a day. And a lot of people are laid off work, can't afford to pay their rent and their mortgages and their utilities and their car payment, all that stuff. If you can't spare some change, don't worry about it. You can always help by sharing our posts and talking to your friends and family. That is invaluable help right there. So that's where we're at with our FEC filings. As far as that, let me go ahead and start answering some questions, because I see I've got questions coming up on Twitter, and I'm also getting some on Facebook. So let me go through here. Hey, thanks for joining us, Allison. Appreciate happy Sunday. I appreciate you spending your evening with us. All right. Thank you for sharing too, Allison. I do appreciate it. Yeah, the yard signs are going to be really cool. We had a branding manager come in. Thank you so much, Casey. You did just such amazing work. I love it. Everything looks great. We have our new colors for our yard signs and I'm just so excited. I don't want to tell a whole lot about them, but as soon as I get one tomorrow, I'm going to be like holding one up like this, promoting it and showing y'all what they look like. I'm excited. Let's see here. I am very hopeful for ballot access as well. Hey, Annie, thank you for joining us. Oh, man, it is hot. I took my daughter to the animal safari today, the drive-through in Gentry. And, man, it was hot. It was like 90 degrees out. On that note, so I did notice Governor Hutchinson finally did issue his mask mandate. I hope it's not too little too late, but he finally did. Unfortunately, some of our sheriff's departments are now saying that they're not going to enforce it. But what really kills me is while I was at this drive-through safari, I was noticing that there are signs everywhere. Everywhere. I mean, there must have been over 100 of these signs that say, the animals will bite, keep your windows rolled up. Keep your windows rolled up, stay in your car. Very clear. Signs everywhere. And you know what? All of the cars I could see in front of me and all the cars I could see behind me, they all had their windows down. And they're, little kids sticking their heads out the windows. And it's like, I understand we do have a responsibility to keep ourselves and, those around us safe. But the problem when you don't require a mask mandate and you say, oh, people will just do it because, it's the right thing to do. Well, the problem is a lot of people won't do things because they're being told to or it's the right thing to do. So we have to have the mandate. And if you're going to be in a public place and you're not going to follow the rules, then there should be some kind of civil penalty for it. I think $500 is a lot. But if you find someone $100 for not wearing a mask, they're probably not going to do it again. But we have to understand that just because it's the right thing to do and we should be doing it out of the goodness of our hearts, not everybody is going to do it. So thank you, Asa Hutchinson, for issuing that mandatory mask mandate. It was very necessary and needed. And hopefully we can start to flatten our curve here in Arkansas, where I believe last I saw we were like the 17th hottest spot in the entire world. So hopefully we can get that down now with some masks being put into place. Sorry, I kind of went off on that. Let's see. Talk about dark money. Oh, man. That's such a great topic, Elizabeth. I could talk about dark money all day long because there's so much of it in our political system, in the military-industrial complex, from the fossil fuel industries, big pharma to healthcare. There's so much dark money. I'll try to keep it really brief, though. So one of the reasons that I'm running is because I understand that our legislators have been purchased by special interests and corporations and billionaires, and they no longer represent us or work for us, the American people and their constituents, but they work for these billionaires and corporations. That means our government is no longer by the people for the people. Our government is paid for by corporations, so we're going to deregulate and subsidize corporations. We have become an oligarch, and dark money is very, very important to talk about. It's not a very popular thing to talk about, but let's just do it. So my opponent, Tom Cotton, took $8.4 million from the Koch brothers in 2014. $8.5 million. Why would the Koch brothers give some, House member, District 4 Arkansas, $8.5 million to run for the United States Senate? Why would they do that? Because they expected a return on their investment. When they got their return, they came in the form of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. When the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act got passed, of course, every single every single senator who had taken money as a candidate from the Koch brothers voted for this Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. What it included was a $3.5 trillion tax break for the richest 0.1% of Americans, also including a temporary repeal of the estate tax. A temporary repeal of the estate tax. The estate tax is back now, but guess what? When David Koch died last August, the estate tax was temporarily repealed, meaning his widow inherited $61 billion untaxed, saving that family $25 billion in taxes. Why would they give some House member in Arkansas $8.5 million? Because they were able to get $25 billion out of that investment. And Tom Cotton is not the only one who took money from the Koch brothers. There are many other corrupt senators that did just the exact same thing. But that's just, showing us a good example of what it's like to purchase a government and have the government no longer work for the people, but work for special interest donors. Because at the same time as this, yes, they had the temporary estate tax repeal, but because of this act, when it passed in 2018, American working class citizens paid $93 billion more, $93 billion more in income taxes, while corporations paid $90 billion less. So it's just directly showing how our representatives are taking money from special interests and then voting on legislation that helps those special interests while hurting their constituents. That's one of the reasons why I'm running for the United States Senate, is because enough is enough, and we have to have a government that works for the people. And the only way we're going to get a government that's going to work for us is when we start to elect people that don't take money from special interests so that they can represent us. That's just one billionaire family's influence. One billionaire family's influence. That doesn't even go into like George Soros. I hate to name drop like this, but Mike Bloomberg, he even admitted he has purchased our senators on accident. He admitted it in a live interview. But those are just billionaires. Then we get into corporations like Walmart, like Tyson. Look at Walmart is the highest corporate donor of all of Arkansas's federal elected officials. That's why we keep their tax rates low. Tyson, same thing. They're the second highest. We have to make sure that corporations are not able to purchase our legislators through unlimited amounts of money because of Citizens United. We have to overturn Citizens United. What Citizens United allowed corporations to do was basically said, corporations are people, so they can donate to campaigns. Well, if corporations are people, shouldn't corporations be held criminally liable when they do things that hurt the American public, not just financially liable? Say if a corporation knowingly puts out a product that they know will cause cancer and kill people, they can be fined, say, $100 million. Well, yeah, but they're going to make $10 billion selling it. So they're like, sure, we'll pay $100 million all day long to make this $9.9 billion. And things like that, we have to put an end to things like that. And they're only able to do this because they purchase our legislators. And that's just corporations, and you can get into whole things like the military-industrial complex. Why do we have a $700 billion military budget? Well, maybe because they put like $2 billion in our legislators' pockets, the guys who vote on their military budget. And we really have to do things about that as well. I've spoken to veterans who have given me their firsthand experience. Let's see. One gentleman, he was in Afghanistan and he worked on a trucking convoy. And his convoy got 4 trucks full of wool vests. Nice wool vests. I mean, like straight keep you warm in negative, 10-degree temperature. Good to go. They got these vests in July. In July, when it was like 100 degrees out. So he told me they took these trucks and they just added them into their convoy and they drove them around for about 2 months before they decided it was not worth the effort and they burned them. Just straight burned them on the side of the road. So our tax dollars paid God only knows how much per vest to fill up truckloads of these things, ship them out there, just so that they could drive them around for a little bit and then burn them. Why? Because the company that sold those vests to the United States government was a contractor, which was a company most likely owned by an ex-legislator or ex-general or something like that. One of these people in the industrial complex that finds out ways, figures out loopholes to funnel our taxes into their pockets. And, dark money, it's just such a big topic. I can talk all day about the corruption in our government because of financial influence. That doesn't even get into pharma. There's a reason that only, 3 companies make insulin in America? There's a reason for this. There's a reason that we have senators who will find out inside information about what's happening with the company, drop all their stocks, and the next day the company releases their information and their stock tumbles. We have insider trading going on and no one's doing anything about it. Someone tried to do something about it just a few months ago. Some GOP senators got caught up in some insider trading garbage. And you know what? They dropped all the charges. They just dropped them. Well, as soon as the public found out and there was outcry, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to do something about this. And once everybody decided to forget about it, nope, never mind, we're done. So we really have to find ways to get money out of politics because our government won't work for us when the people running our government have financial incentives not to work for us. Okay, so enough about dark money. Like I said, it's a really important subject, and I could talk about it for a while. We didn't even talk about how Tom Cotton has taken money from Israel and yet voted to give them $20 billion in aid. We haven't talked about how he took money from the communications industry and then allowed our internet service providers to monitor, store, and sell our private internet data to third-party advertisers. It's crazy. So dark money, fun stuff. Well, actually, maybe one of these days here in the next couple weeks, we can have an entire live stream just on dark money. That would be really cool. We'll start figuring out together who's getting their money from where and what they're doing in exchange for it. All right, moving on. Sorry, I've got a ton of stuff on here. Allison, you want a sticker? I will hook you up with a sticker if you send me a message. And thank you so much, Janie, for posting my donor box information on there. I do appreciate it. Yeah, we'll get all swagged out. Let's see here. Pope County. Yeah, I haven't seen any ads from Tom Cotton either. He believes he's running unopposed. They don't think I'm a threat, but we're going to come out, we're like the underdog. We're going to come from nowhere and derail him, and he's going to have no idea what's going on November 3rd when he's sitting there with his bottle of champagne and a room full of rich old men smoking cigars. We're like, what just happened? And the people are going to be like, we just happened. We have a voice. Oh man, there are so many comments. I'm working on it. We're getting down. Yes, definitely. Make sure if y'all want yard signs, I should have them up on my store. I already have them added to my store. I just don't have them visible. I should have them within the next 2 or 3 days visible to buy. And then also, we did have a fundraiser for yard signs from February 11th, I believe, to February 22nd. I'll double check the dates. But anyone who had donated increments of $10, y'all are still going to get your free yard signs. I did not forget about you. Is the comment still out, Allison? I know it was you could view it after sunset yesterday. I'll have to check online and see, and if we still can view it, I might have to throw my daughter in the car and drive out to grab it tonight where it's nice and dark. That'd be really cool. I love astrology. I love astronomy. I love the universe, all that stuff. We had our trivia night on the universe, actually, and yeah, I'll check it out. I'll see if I can see it. Yeah, it was really cool to see the Fort Smith police come in support of the mandate. I really hope that we do take it seriously and we start to see a drop in our cases. It's very important. Another thing that we haven't really talked about at all tonight is opening schools. Our schools are not ready to open. We have to make sure that we keep our children safe. And when our children go into schools, into these buildings full of other students, and then if they were to catch COVID, yeah, they're probably going to be okay. But now they come home and now they're around their family, their parents, their siblings. What if they have a compromised sibling? What if they're around their grandparents? And then that's not even to mention their teachers. What is it, like a quarter of teachers are considering not even going back to work this year because they're worried about risking their lives to teach children? It's crazy. What about the bus drivers? What about the people cleaning the facilities? There's so much staff involved in a school that we are not ready for this. It is going to be a terrible mistake. And I mean, it is only July 19th. We do have another month and a week. We'll see what our COVID numbers are looking like then. And I'm just very hopeful that our governor does what's right. He decides, I'm not going to listen to my party. I'm going to listen to the doctors. I hope he makes that decision. We'll see what happens. But we will talk more about that over the next couple weeks. Oh, thank you, Janie, for listing my policy too. Oh man, y'all are awesome. He does act in the most un-Arkansan ways. I mean, everything going on in there's so much going on right now. I mean, we literally have an authoritarian military troop in Portland, Oregon, without permission from the state's governor, in unmarked vehicles, unidentified, and they are just driving these minivans around the road and just picking people up and throwing them in the vans and driving around like the Gestapo. I mean, it is insane. This is really scary pre-authoritarian, pre-fascism experiences that Americans are facing right now in Portland, Oregon. And we need to make sure we're showing solidarity to these people that are going through this. It's really, I mean, shameful. I can't even think of the right word. It's downright scary. It's terrifying. I really hope that Portland woke up enough people around the country to see what's going on, that we will not allow them to do that to us in other states. It is just terrifying to see this transition from a democracy, from a representative republic to a democracy, to an oligarch, to a totalitarian state. It's crazy. I'm just reading some more comments down here. Oh, I'm sorry my video stopped for you, Molly. You probably just have to close it and then reopen. I know, right? If every Arkansan actually knew what Tom Cotton was doing, I guarantee you no one would vote for him. But a lot of people don't know what he's doing. A lot of people don't understand what he's doing. And a lot of people believe what he says. Oh, nice. Thank you for posting that, Allison. Yeah, I'm going to have to steal my daughter here in, like, I don't know, maybe the next 2 hours and go check this comment out. That'll be really cool. Oh, and thank you, Molly. I mean, I'm a regular guy. I've been through my downs. I've been through my highs. Hopefully not through my highs yet. But, you know, I think the best way that someone can actually represent us as a whole is to have experienced the things that we're actually going for or going through, and, you know, the things that we look for and that we want in our lives. when you have people representing you, like a majority of our Senate and our Congress are millionaires. They don't know what it's like to go to work every Monday and, work my 9 to 5, or even to have a job like when I was a cable guy where you could be working 6 or 7 days a week, regularly, and then you might not even have weekends off. You might have be like a Wednesday off person, or you might have like Tuesdays off. A lot of people just don't understand the stresses that American life has on us. And I think that when we start to get more representatives that have lived through the struggles that we're going through, then we can have people that are going to better represent us and that are going to understand how the legislation that they're voting on is going to affect us, not only financially, but mentally as well, because mental well-being is very important. It is insane. I hope we learned our lesson, Luba. We'll see what happens. Oh man, it's and then with RGB right now, I really hope that she's going to be okay. I hope she has several years left in her. She's a strong woman. She's a fighter. And at the very, very least, I hope she can hold on till January. We have to make sure, not only here in Arkansas, but around the country, we have to make sure we're flipping the Senate. We cannot allow any more of these unqualified, really far right-wing extremist conservative judges to sit in lifelong positions. We cannot afford it. We have had 2/3 of our federal judges replaced in the last 4 years. 2/3 of our federal judges. When the NRA sent me a candidate survey to see if they wanted to endorse me or not, which they didn't, obviously, the very last question on the NRA's candidate survey is very, very simple. It says, do you pledge to only vote on judges or to only confirm judges that are pro Second Amendment and conservative? That's it. Will you vote on a judge purely because he's pro Second Amendment? How can anybody vote on someone for a lifelong position taking one factor into matter? I mean, one single factor to determine a lifelong position. You just can't do that. I mean, the world is not that clear and cut. It's not white and black. There's always gray line. Everything is going to have its own unique circumstances. But that is the kind of stuff we're dealing with right now. So if any single candidate you have seen is endorsed by the NRA, know that they answered yes to that question, that they will confirm a judge solely for one reason, and that one reason is pro 2A. Oh, thanks for joining us, Nate. Yeah, I miss y'all over there. I've been talking to my wife about going back to Domino's. For all those of y'all that don't know, I had been at Domino's for 5 years, and I took leave starting January 1st so I could focus on my signature collection for ballot access. And then, of course, they pushed the ballot access out, and then I got into my lawsuit, and I haven't been back to Domino's. Oh, man, I've been gone from Domino's for like 7 months now. I've been talking to my wife about whether or not I'm going to, when we're going to go back to Domino's. And it's just really hard right now with COVID-19 and her being high risk. I mean, we've been completely quarantined. Like, we leave our house to buy groceries, and that's it. We don't eat out. We don't buy fast food. We don't do any of that stuff. We are at our home to make sure that she's going to be okay. And if I go back to Domino's, then I'm going to be in an environment where I'm working around a lot of people and I'm going to many different houses. So we're trying to figure that out. And hopefully once COVID cools down and we flatten our curve here in Arkansas, I can finally get back to delivering pizzas. I miss it so much. One of the coolest things about delivering pizzas is Audible. I miss driving around listening to all my audiobooks. It was a great way to get like hours of audiobooks in every day. Let's see here. How many people with your heart and understanding of worth do you believe? Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it, man. Y'all are awesome. I mean, I wouldn't be here without the support of such amazing people like you. Thank you guys so much. What do I think of Kanye running for president? Do I think Trump put him out to it? Well, I mean, then it would just be a conspiracy theory or my own opinion. I have no idea if Trump put him out to it. I mean, I think, number one, for him just to come out and say, I'm running for president, vote for me in 2020, well, that's not how it works. So he obviously doesn't understand the process or the laws. So he's obviously immediately unqualified to run for president. I think he can get on the ballot in like 3 or 4 states at this point, but he's not even going to be on the ballot in most states. So I know at the same time his wife was promoting her lines, so it was probably just some kind of publicity stunt to make some extra money during COVID when I'm sure they're starting to lose a little bit. So let me see real quick here. I'm trying to pull up Twitter. I've never actually, let's see here. I'm like, there's no comments on my Twitter. I don't know how to see them. That's because there are none. There's just a bunch of people watching. Okay. All right. But that's kind of where we're at. If anyone had any other questions, you can go ahead and ask the questions and I'll answer them before I hop off. And I'll do a quick recap kind of where we're at right now. So my name is Dan Whitfield. I'm the independent candidate running for United States Senate here in Arkansas. My website is replacetomcotton.com. I got some new stuff in my store. I'm waiting to show it to the public until after I get like the shipping costs and things like that, because I think it's going to cost more than $3 to ship a shirt and a t-shirt and things like that. But within the next couple days, make sure to check out replacetomcotton.com. Go to store. You can find some swag in there, some hats, t-shirts, stickers, bumper stickers, and yard signs coming tomorrow. So check that out. Make sure you also check out my policy page. I mean, you can watch my live streams and hear some of my questions, but of course we want to know what my policy is, who I am, and what I stand for. So check out my policy page. It is actually under construction right now. So you'll see like, it'll have like just a filler video. I think it's like Iceland or something like that. And then it'll have my policy next to it. What we're working on right now, my production crew, is we are actually filming videos for each of my policy stances. That way you can just click the video and listen to me talk about it rather than having to read about it. So that should be done here. Hopefully in the next week or two, I'm gonna get with you here soon about that, Damon. And we'll get that done, get the website all caught up. Hit Meet Dan. You can read my autobiography, learn a little bit about me, where I am, who I am, where I came from, and how I got to where I'm at today. But check out all that good stuff. Let's see here. No, Tom Cotton has not actually said anything about Trump's secret police, and I'm a little surprised, but at the same time, I mean, Tom Cotton was calling for an overwhelming show of military force just a few weeks ago, and I would consider sending a secret police out there, an SS-type group, to kidnap and detain people in unmarked vehicles without any kind of identification or identifying themselves when asked. That's kind of an overwhelming show of force. So this is kind of what he asked for. Fortunately, there hasn't been no quarter. We haven't had these vans showing up with the military inside, hopping out and shooting people, which is amazing. That's great. Hopefully it stays that way. But no, have not heard anything about that from Tom Cotton yet. Let's see here. What do you think on the White House taking the COVID information from the CDC? I think that is an absolutely terrible idea. The problem is the CDC publishes their findings to the public, which is very, very important. We have to know what the numbers are. The public does. Look at what happened in China. They talk about, the Chinese Communist Party and how they were hiding numbers and, cooking their books and all of this stuff. We have literally done the exact same thing China is doing, that we have been condemning them over, the last 7 months, and we're doing it ourselves now? It is insane. It is insane. I don't even know what to say about it. I really hope that people stay diligent around their state with the numbers and keep the numbers on different sources. We do have Arkansas COVID on Twitter, which is really cool. I think it's a she because people have referred to it as a she before. But she goes through and she gives us updates every day with, cumulative numbers and how many people are active, how many have recovered, how many people are in the hospital and things like that. So hopefully, citizens will stay diligent and be able to keep these numbers in the public view rather than having everything shipped straight to the White House to be contained and letting that crazy press secretary lady tell us what they want us to hear, because we know it's not the truth. We've seen her book of lies. Let's see here. Do we know what is happening? Man, I got something blowing my face. Turn this fan off. Do we know what is happening to the people who are kidnapped by the secret police? And do we know for sure they aren't killing people after they take them away? I think I have seen some reports on Twitter of people who have been detained by the police and arrested and then let go. So I don't think they're killing people, and I think they are letting them go. They are police officers. It's just the way that they're going about doing it it's just not okay. It's not American. It is very un-American. It is very Russian. It is very communist. It is very fascist and authoritarian. It's totalitarian, but it is not American. All right. So that's kind of where we're at. We're at 51 minutes in. So again, it's kind of a short Q&A. I am still waiting on my information for our court case. So what you can do is if you go to replacetomcotton.com and click on ballot access, I've been uploading all of our court documents on there. So you can just actually go through and you can general search by case number. You can look at the documents on there. You can look at the case number. And if you go to the ca8.uscourts.gov or just Google search 8th Circuit Courts, you can actually enter in our case number. And you'll see it is a case number 20-2309, Dan Whitfield versus John Thurston. And you can go in there. You can make a free account for Pacer. And you can actually keep up to date on what is going on with our court date. With our court case. And I can see right here at the last date where there's anything entered is July 8th, 2020, which was our motion for an expedited appeal. So, it has been 11 days and we haven't heard back about our appeal. So, I don't know. It was very interesting, actually, that William Barr had actually come to Arkansas to campaign with Tom Cotton, I think about a week ago. I'm not sure what the Attorney General was doing out here. It may have something to do with our court case. We're really hoping they're not trying to do anything, shady with our appeal. But we'll see what happens. I'm going to make sure to keep everything in the public eye. It was a little discerning to see photos of, Asa Hutchinson and Leslie Rutledge and Tom Cotton in the same picture because they've all taken money from him and they're all trying to help him run unopposed kind of things. But it is what it is, and we'll keep working forward through it. ArkansasCovid.com. Awesome. Thank you, Janie. Exactly. So yeah, hopefully the people running these websites will stay diligent and keep helping us out by doing all this extra work. And you know what? If you see that a website like that is run by someone and you can see a username or a contact, send them a thank you, send them a message. Be like, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this, because they're doing this for us and for the good of our country. They're not even getting paid to do it. So it's always good to take a minute and, show someone a little bit of appreciation for the hard work that they do for us. So with the NDAA, they could hold American citizens indefinitely. Is that true? It is absolutely true. All they have to do is claim someone is a terrorist and they can indefinitely hold them for no reason at all. With the way that they're trying to paint Antifa as a terrorist group, BLM as a terrorist group, they can pretty much, if they go into your phone, or they don't even have to go into your phone, if they go on your, so if you get to say, okay, so you got detained at a peaceful protest, you weren't doing anything wrong, you were just there and they decided to detain you. So they detain you. Now they go on to your Facebook profile and they see one single pro Black Lives Matter statement. Now you're a terrorist, and now they can detain you indefinitely. So be very careful with what you put on your social media, even if it's private. You just have to be careful nowadays. This is just the big brother surveillance state that we live in today. But unfortunately, yes, they can hold people indefinitely. Is it true that 4 months United States of America has turned communist? No, it is not true. We're not communist at all. A lot of people don't even really know what communism is. So communism is when everybody works together and puts all of the money and all of the commodities into a giant pool and distributes everything equally, where the government controls everything. That's what communism is. We are not communist. There has actually never been a communist nation ever in the history of the world, because the problem with being a communist nation is people have to have no greed, and they have to have really no desire to move forward in life, to move up a class, you know? And we're not a communist country. We are an oligarch. We are a country whose government is ran by a handful of very wealthy individuals. But we are definitely not communist. China is not even communist because they have a free market. Hey, Rick, thanks for joining us. Hope you're doing well. All right. So, again, real quick, I am going to start doing my live streams through a cloud streaming service where I can stream on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube simultaneously. Thank you all so much for helping us get to 1,000 subscribers for YouTube. What that means is I do all my live streaming from my phone, and now I can live stream on YouTube from my phone. Unfortunately, I hit 1,000 subscribers today, and I have to wait 24 hours before I can do that. So my next live stream will be on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. We'll make sure we get all three of them in there. It's sad that we have to be afraid of supporting Black Lives Matter being anti-fascist. Absolutely. I remember when the United States of America was, as a nation, anti-fascist. And I completely agree. Oh, man. That's what World War II was fought about. Our grandfathers, our great-grandfathers, they went and died to kill the fascist Nazis. They were all Antifa. And the government is just, not the government per se, but I guess I'll use special interests. Special interests are really good at taking an idea and warping it against us and using that idea against us. Just like the term conspiracy theory. The term conspiracy theory was actually created by the CIA to take people who are saying, things that could have happened that are more out of the box, and why do I keep saying, I gotta break that habit. But conspiracy theory was basically created to discredit people. So we do have to be very careful about allowing these groups to change the words that we're saying. Black Lives Matter is not a terrorist organization. And Antifa is not even an organized group. Antifa is a state of mind, meaning anti-fascist, meaning against fascism, meaning fascism is bad. Okay, I think we can all agree fascism is bad. Unless you're a fascist. All right. So I'm hitting my 1 hour mark, and I'm kind of reading through all these different comments on here. I think I answered all the questions. I know I have a lot of my regular people spending their evenings with me. Thank you all. It is a Sunday night instead of a Saturday, so thank you for spending your Sunday evening before work again tomorrow with me. I do appreciate it. And if you all have any questions or anything, you can always reach out to me. Give me a call, shoot me a text, an email, a social media message, whatever you want, I'll always answer. So thank you guys very much. I do appreciate your time and your support, your donations, your help, all this awesome stuff. So, I'm going to go ahead and end this now. Thank you again. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Our updates for next week, I am expecting them to at least have our 3 judges by this week. They should have our judges by this week. My lawyer had told me it would have been early last week, but for some reason we haven't heard anything, and I hope it doesn't have anything to do with Barr coming out here. But anyways, thank you all so much. You guys have a great night. May God bless y'all, and may God bless America. And now I have to end.